today. My name is Lyf Gildersleeve, and I am officially a fishmonger. So I'm here to talk about water. And you can't see, I've got a smile under that mask. I know most of us can't see each other's smiles these days. It's so unfortunate. But you can see from the big squint in my eyes that I'm really grateful to be here and just happy to share my knowledge with you all and for a short period of time at least, and give you guys some inspiration and some content to work with on fisheries and water and oceans and rivers and everything to do with water. So again, my name is Lyf Gildersleeve, and I'm very grateful to be here. Ashley, thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored. So my experience, my history with fish is really my whole life. I'm the owner of a company called Flying Fish Company in Portland, Oregon. My family started Flying Fish Company in my hometown over in Sandpoint, Idaho, is where I was raised. My family started flying fish there actually the year before I was born in 1979. So my dad and mom used to bring in fish from Seattle and sell it inland where there wasn't good availability of seafood. So I've been around seafood and fish my entire life in the retail setting as a fish market. I studied aquaculture in college and got experience in shrimp and finfish aquaculture, clams, oysters, all sorts of great ways to grow products from the ocean, so that it helps to relieve the pressure of harvesting more wild fish and seafood from the ocean. So that was my college experience, was in aquaculture, and then worked in that field for years after that. It's been now about 12 years since I started my own branch of Flying Fish Company, and here in Portland, about 10 years of that. So what Flying Fish Company is I'm a sustainable seafood fish market. So you may ask, what is sustainable seafood? It's unfortunately a term that's, kind of greenwashed in this day and age by the bigger box grocery stores and restaurants and stuff that may or may not be actually practicing sustainable use of our resources. For me, sustainability means that it's going to be, I'm never going to sell something that is being over harvested from the ocean or that is farm raised in a way that negatively affects either the environment that it's grown in or us actually to eat it. So obviously what we put in our body is what we get out, right? You can't put something in and get something out. What you put in is what you get out. So it's really important to me to sell products that are nutritionally beneficial for our bodies and also are positive for the environment, or at least don't negatively affect the environment. So I'll talk a little bit more in a bit about what that means as far as farm-raised seafood. But so for me, the sustainability of my business is I'm a retail fish market here in Portland. And then I also have a restaurant. There's on-site dining, there's to-go. So I'm in my establishment today. So you'll see people walking behind me and my staff helping customers. And please excuse a little bit of noise in the background, but I figured this was a good setting for you to experience, my everyday life. And I'll take the camera in a moment and I'll kind of show you some of the different products and some of the good examples of how to source things in a way that are mindful and that are using good ingredients that are going to be good for the environment and for us. So family business owner, sustainable. I'm a conservationist at heart. So it's really important to me how many fish are being caught. I work a lot with fisheries policy. So a national fisheries policy organization, a nonprofit out of Washington, D.C. I help them to coordinate with the politicians who are writing laws and who are guiding the principles and the regulations around fisheries policy. So I make sure that if I'm going to sell fish from a fishery, whether it be a West Coast fishery or Alaska or East Coast and that, I want to make sure that that fishery is being managed in a way that not too many fish or seafood items are being harvested so that that species can effectively replenish itself by itself. So for me, that's really important because ultimately for the ocean, all we have to do is just not harvest too many fish. So if we were to just have the fish out there, harvest a few of them, and then let them replenish themselves, then everything would be fine. It would be a perpetual supply of protein for us to eat. Unfortunately, from human, kind of capitalism or whatever the definition of why humans are the way that we are, is we're over harvesting too many of certain species. So you got to be really careful about which species it is that you're eating. Additionally, our world population is continuing to grow and grow and grow. And as you know, we've come to a maximum capacity of what we can harvest from the ocean. So if the world population is growing and we've come to a maximum capacity of what we can harvest, as the world population continues to grow, there's a gap there. And that gap is going to need to be filled with farm-raised seafood. And we need to be able to make sure that we're raising those animals, that seafood, in a way that doesn't negatively affect the environment. So that's why aquaculture is such an important topic to me. A lot of people have a negative connotation with aquaculture, farm-raised fish, for a good reason, because farm-raised Atlantic salmon that you get at some commodity store like Walmart or Target or any of those big box stores that's pretty much a horrible product. It's farm-raised in a way that pollutes the environment that it's farm-raised in. They're using antibiotics. It's affecting the wild salmon populations that are surrounding these net pens that are just stuffed with salmon. So that's all really negative stuff. So you do want to stay away from that stuff. But there are some great examples of some farm-raised fish that are using good ingredients. They're not using antibiotics. They're not using hormones. They're not using artificial color in the feed so that the flesh looks more like a wild salmon. So it's really important for you to learn and to know about the products that you're eating, and just any little bit of mindfulness in, even if it's just internally in your mind, if you take a product and look at that product and see that there's, water, tomato paste, distilled vinegar, cane sugar, sea salt, onion, allspice. There's no high fructose corn syrup in there. So that's going to be a good product that you're going to want to eat and put into your body. I feel like one of the biggest things that us humans, or those of us activists, us consumers can do, is just be mindful about the products that we're eating. So ask the questions, read the labels, see where they're coming from, and even that little bit of information that you digest and you look and you're making that choice, hopefully you're going to find something that you're like, oh, I do want that, I don't want that. And even that one choice can make a huge difference in our consumer demand, and which will create more brands to come up with products that don't have those nasty ingredients in them. So it's super important to make sure that you're reading the labels, choosing the products that are going to be better for the environment, better for your body. And then that alone is going to shift the marketplace and get more companies to be producing products and selling products that are going to be better for the environment and better for you. Secondarily, I think it's really important that we experience where our food is coming from. So if you were to go out, let's say to a winery, and you're in this vineyard and you've got the grapes that are right there on the vines, and you're tasting this wine, and oh my God, it's the most incredible thing that you've ever done, and you have a wonderful experience. And every time you drink that bottle of wine, you're going to remember where that came from and how awesome that environment was. Same thing goes with fishing, or with fish or seafood or any food for that matter. If you stop at the local farm on your way to X, Y, or Z, wherever you're going, and you buy a dozen eggs from that little place, you're like, oh, that's where my eggs are coming from. There's the chickens that laid them. That's awesome. And that's going to be just a much better nutritious product than you would get if it went through the main distribution channels and went all the way to the grocery stores and then to you. So not only is it a fresher product, but you know where it came from, and it's going to be likely more nutritional than if you get it through the bigger box grocery stores. So same thing goes with seafood. If you go out and catch a trout and harvest it and actually kill that animal and gut it and cook it, and you experience that meal came from something that was living, and offer that gratitude to that animal that, sacrificed its life willingly or not, that's pretty special, and it's pretty sentimental when it comes to food. Same thing goes with if you were blessed to be an hour and a half from the ocean here in Portland. So we can go over, and I can take my kids over to the ocean and we can go crabbing, or we can dig for clams, or we can go to the docks and see the fishermen offloading the fish off the boats. And those are experiences that really give value to our food. And I feel like even just that little bit of attention in experiencing where your food comes from will make it puts that energy into the food, and then we're going to get more out of it for our bodies and for our souls, and also for our environment. It's just going to make a difference when down the road, as you make choices of which crab to buy, you're going to be like, here's this can of blue crab that's pasteurized into this big box grocery store, and you look at the label and it's from the Philippines. So you don't know anything about a blue crab from the Philippines and where it came from and what waters, what the quality of the water was. Or that Dungeness crab that we caught on the coast was freaking incredible. And I want to eat that Dungeness crab. So you're going to make that choice that maybe that Philippines crab is not a good choice, but that local Dungeness crab is a good choice. And yes, that Philippines blue crab in the can is cheaper than the local one. How the hell it's cheaper? Probably not fished in a sustainable way. Secondarily, it's used a ton of fossil fuels to get from the Philippines to here. And just those are often also the problem areas where there's the slave labor and just not good. There's like there can be contaminants in the water and thus in the protein in the food that you're buying from these places. So these are good examples of how you can make choices when it comes to like Philippines or Oregon. I personally will choose Oregon. And if you can make those decisions, I just feel like every one of us to make those little decisions is going to be so much better than it's going to be better for the environment, better for everybody around. It's going to support the local economy, and everything is, will make this grassroots effort more impactful because each one of us will make those decisions. So another thing as far as water is utilizing alternative energy. So as you know, the Columbia River, for example, there used to be an incredible run of Chinook salmon, coho salmon that came up the Columbia River. We thus now have like 20 dams that they have to go up fish ladders and get transported by the Fish and Game and all sorts of problems. There's now sea lions in the river eating the salmon that are coming back down, the little baby smolt. So there's all sorts of problems that we have created as consumers that are important to recognize. That it's not just about commercial fishing that's making stocks go down. It's also that our human impact of both dams and environmental runoff and loss of habitat of where they spawn are all reasons why we've seen declines in certain species. So that's also important to read up on and learn about, and so that you can make your choices of where you're getting your fish and what fish to purchase, but then B, like how we individually can affect a species more so than just fishing for them. Environmentally, we can affect those species by the dams that are being built and by the environmental runoff, the products that you're using in your house or to clean your car that get washed out into the street, end up into the rivers, end up into the ocean. These all affect in the environment, and there's living things in the environment. And we as humans feel like we're the only ones that matter. And I know that you all are here for this awesome reason that we all want to make a difference in the world. So alternative energy is another great way. If we continue to take demand out of those power grids, so if, let's say we have solar panels on our house, let's say we turn off the lights, let's say we take one less hot shower so that we avoid additional demand for the power companies to build more dams, then we're doing something just a little bit better for the environment. And again, a grassroots effort from each one of us is going to make a difference, because the collective, individuals actually make a pretty big mass. So we can all do this together. We can all make great choices. And I think that each one of these choices, that we can just be a little bit more mindful about these topics, is going to be an awesome way to show people that that what we do makes a difference. It's amazing how fast this time goes when I've got so much stuff to talk about. I could just keep talking. So will you guys listen? Oh, 5 more. So we're good. We're good. I won't keep you on all day though. I got a bunch of information I can tell you, but we'll have to do this again on a different day because I can just go on, and I know, yeah, some of you might be able to hang out with me for a day. You can come down to Flying Fish and I'll chat your ear off down here as well. Anyway, back to business. So also buying from small local businesses, super important. It's kind of a given these days to buy local and all this stuff, but it really does make a difference. When we buy from small local businesses like myself, it allows me to buy more directly from fishermen off the coast so that it doesn't have to go through the distribution channels. So buy local, support the local economy. It's just going to help the carbon offset, the carbon pressure of transporting products in. There's a lot of products these days that are going over to China to be processed and then sent back to the United States to be sold here. So it's going across the ocean twice just to be sold. And it's still something that's cheaper than what you can buy in the United States. So be really mindful about the country of origin of where your products are coming from, whether it be food or other products for that matter as well. Be an activist. If there's something that you see that you don't like, there's still countries that are out there killing whales and killing dolphins. And this is bullshit. I absolutely think that we can stand up, we can be an activist, we can reach out to our politicians. How can we find ways to implement protocols or tariffs on these, or like banning of any like shark fin products? Like, yes, do that. Be an activist, stand up, reach out to your politicians, super important. Don't just like haphazardly like think that that's not okay, because a lot of us don't think it's okay, but actually do something about it. Use less plastic. We all know that a lot of plastic ends up in the ocean. Plastic gets broken down into smaller pieces and then smaller pieces, then smaller pieces, along with our clothes, like a lot of microfibers. When you wash them in the washing machine, they go through the sewer treatment plant and they don't filter down to that size of a little microfiber. That ends up out in the ocean. It ends up in the smallest microorganisms in the ocean, which get eaten by the bigger ones, which get eaten by the bigger ones. So we have plastic ending up in our food, both on land and in the ocean. So be mindful about plastic. If you've got a plastic bag that you used once and it barely got, dirty, rinse it off in the sink and dry it out and use it again. It just makes complete sense to me. You're not only going to save the 3 cents of the bag, but you're going to not put that plastic into the earth. And I think that's really important. If you are going to buy farm raised fish, make sure you're asking the questions about where did it come from? Was there antibiotics? How's the food? Get some more information about the website of the farm that's growing those products and learn about it. And I think that you'll be surprised that there is a lot of information out there. A lot of people just aren't asking the questions that are necessary to make good purchase decisions. Climate change is very real for the seafood industry. Our oceans are changing. Not only the temperature is rising, but the pH, the chemistry of the ocean, the water is changing. So that's affecting the shellfish, the oysters, the clams. They are having problems creating their shell because of the changing chemistry, the changing pH. The ocean is becoming more acidic because of climate change. So it's really important for us to make the decisions to maybe ride your bike instead of the car, so that we're not raising the temperature of the environment, thus the ocean. And what we're doing on land is absolutely affecting the ocean as well. And I think that in closing, I'll take you around and show you a couple more of my products that I'm selling in the market here. But just in closing, I'm so grateful that you all are here watching, and I am honored to give you a piece of my passion and my commitment to this planet and to the earth and to the water. And I just hope that you can take that and you can feel what I'm trying to share here, because it's near and dear to my heart. And I just hope that everyone can just feel my passion for it and take that and take a little bit of knowledge that I shared with you today. And please reach out to me. Flying Fish PDX is the Instagram handle, and there's Flying Fish PDX is the website. So look it up and check it out. And I'll give you a little walk around of my market here. So this is the retail market. I've got a bunch of smaller kind of pantry items, lots of fun stuff like this fish jerky that's made out of local whitefish, a sustainable fishery here on the West Coast. I've got the Jacobson salt, which is locally harvested salt out of the Netarts Bay, the Portlandia ketchup, organic ketchup and mustard, and some hot sauces here locally. We've got some fun conserva, so all the canned tin seafood like sardines and anchovies and fun stuff like that. And then on over to the fish market side of the equation, we have some mackerel here. We've got lots of shellfish. We've got some spot prawns in today from Alaska, oysters, mussels, clams, some wonderful little small fish. These are little night smelt from Eureka, California. It's really good to eat smaller fish as well. They're highly nutritious. They're not higher up on the food chain, so there's less chance of getting any contaminants in them. I've got a family recipe smoked salmon I have here, and then all sorts of good local sustainable seafood, black cod, Alaska halibut. There's some petrale sole and rockfish from the Oregon coast. And this is the crab meat that I was speaking of, the local Dungeness crab meat, and the local bay shrimp are an awesome one as well. So that's a little briefing of my establishment. That's the kitchen back there where we cook all the restaurant food. And then we've got a patio outside where customers are enjoying their lunch. And that's it. So thank you again for having me. Much love. And yeah, that's that. See you guys soon.
Thank you, Lyf. I have there's a question actually on Facebook, on the Facebook page, that there's a woman who is in New York City or just outside New York in the city. So first she's asking, how do you find this kind of information, or how do you do something more local when you're in like a mega city like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So there are quite a few different sustainability organizations. One of them is the Monterey-based Seafood Watch. So that's just a generic answer to get customers to look for, let's say, what species first and foremost of fish is being harvested sustainably and not being over harvested. So look on like the Monterey-based Seafood Watch is one of the organizations. The Marine Stewardship Council, MSC, is another certifying body that makes sure that different fisheries are sustainable. I think that the Seafood Watch, the Monterey-based Seafood Watch, they used to have like a map of where the different companies like Flying Fish sell these different sustainable seafood. Not sure if that's something they have on there anymore. I know the Fulton Fish Market has quite a bit of different products. I think it would be important to just make sure that the products that you're buying from Fulton or any of the other guys in the New York area, you may have a fish market that has 20 different products, and you just need to make sure that individually, is the cod, that Atlantic cod, is that sustainable right now? In the past, it's been overfished a lot. Now it's been recovering, but they really decimated that population. So it's having a hard time rebounding. So you just need to be really specific about which products it is from the East Coast that are sustainable. And then just dig, go to the farmers markets. I know that there's, the Montauk harbor is I think the closest harbor to New York. So head down to the farmers markets, and then there's the boats, the fishermen that come in from the docks off Montauk and stuff to bring some of the local fish to the marketplaces. So really just dig in. I can't say that there's one platform that has a bunch of information about that. This is going to be the small scale grassroots. Like, you need to work on figuring it out and dig, and you'll find some good stuff, I'm sure.
Thank you. That was fantastic. I hope everybody learned a little bit. I know I did. And Lyf, thank you so much for joining us. You're new to the Soldier Squad, and it's awesome to have you part of it. So
appreciate it very much.
We'll see you soon. Thanks everyone for joining in.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.